5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go.
He's pretty bad.
At our San Clemente Service Center here, we're providing warranty support as well as carbon wheel production for North America. So all the carbon wheels that are being sold in North America, with the exception of some large OEM orders for bike manufacturers, are being built by myself, I'm Mike, and Nick, who's off camera. So if you order a wheel off of Crankbrothers website, me or Nick are building it. Usually we're building it to order for you. We're also handling all the warranty support. So if you break one of our carbon rims, we'll get your hub in here and we'll rebuild it for you with a new rim, new spokes, new nipples, and send it back. Usually within just 1 to 2 business days. So the lacing process will typically take us about 5 or 6 minutes. And at the end of that, we'll have a wheel with all the spokes in, all connected, and drilled up to about 30–40% of the final tension that we want to get to. And then we usually take about another 30 to 40 minutes, depending on how challenging the wheel is, to get it all tensioned and trued up in the stand. And so in theory, somewhere around like 40 to 50 minutes per wheel is something we can do pretty consistently. Because we've got all of our wheel components here in stock, in order to support both wheel set orders as well as rebuilds for warranty purposes, when we want to try something from a testing or a research and development angle, we can build a wheel that is, if necessary, custom for our testing team to try out. So someone can come in with an idea, have us build a wheel that day, and we can have it in the fatigue test machine that night, running overnight for the next morning. And it allows us to come up with an idea and test it in the real world on a fatigue test machine with a completely built wheel in 24 hours in theory, which is pretty awesome for us. The wheel's mounted with a bunch of weight on it to simulate the weight of the bike and the rider. And then it's running on a big drum that has blocks on it, like 20mm impacts in this test. There's different heights out there. So then you're recording hundreds of thousands of hits with that weight on there. And you can find out if you're gonna have some of those long-term fatigue issues that a wheel could have. We're usually watching for things like, is the wheel going out of true? Is it starting to lose its dish and go to one side? Or is just spokes breaking and failing and stuff like that. So you can see the wheel's pretty darn true according to that laser. Also, if you put knobbies on there, then that little pile of black powder becomes like a mountain, so it'll just shred the tires over time. The purpose of our wheel press is to take care of some of the spoke kind of cold working that hand wheel builders will do with forming the spoke around the flange of the hub. But trying to speed things up a little bit, and also you can put a lot more force on here to get them all set and formed, even when the wheel's under some tension already. So it allows us to save some time. And I'll do that again when the wheel's under more tension, and it just gives the shape of the spoke around the flange right out of the gate. Side maybe. There we go.
So
So this is the impact test machine, and the purpose of this test is to prove and test the strength of a wheel. Till a few years ago, this test was not mandatory. Now it's part of the ISO standard, it's part of the International Standard Organization. What the ISO states is just to do a drop test from height equivalent to just 40 joule of energy with striker impact flat covered by a rubber and no tire. That test is not really representative of real world testing, you know, because the purpose for everybody making wheels in the industry is just to check what can happen into real world with riders and testers. So what we do is having different strikers, shapes, according to what are the conditions that you want to test. We do fit a tire inflated to a certain pressure. Normally we try to replicate the user pressure, and then we do incremental testing. So we start from at least an energy level equivalent, so a height equivalent to 100 joule, and then we go above and above till we see a failure. With this new version of alloy wheels, the Synthesis Alloy 2.0, we have improved how the rim react to this impact. Before we would see more of like the walls bending inward, and therefore the tire would lose pressure, so the rider could not continue to ride. Now, even if the impact is like strong and high, and we see little dents, basically the sidewall stays strong and straight, and there is no flat tires. The rider could continue to ride and test. So yeah, this is what we do. This is the machine, and as I said, for me, that 40 joule is really something that we don't even do as a testing. We start from 80 and we increment of 20 joule each time till we see a failure. So with these wheels we saw failure, like some little dent or bulges starting from 160 joule on, which is very, very, like you will see is a very high height. So I'm confident that's around like 160.
60?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Please no one go near that. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So you see the wheel is starting to show some deflection. The spoke may have lost tension. Yeah, no flat tire, no burping of the tire. Yeah. And probably, if I remove the wheel, you see some bulges here, and that was like a pretty strong and like, high energy.
Yeah, I mean, the way that alloy rims get used, I mean, you know, on any bike park day, half the wheels out there are like on their last legs, and people kind of need a wheel that can take some impacts, and whether it's going to be usable for the next 6 months or not, they kind of need to be able to use it for the next ride or two, and like that's kind of important. Sometimes that's all you need, actually. So the last week in Ludenville, and when we were watching Ocean O'Callahan's run, he's riding on our Alloy 2.0 rims. You can basically see some of this in action because he had a pretty serious bobble, like around halfway down or something. And some of the commentators were going like, oh, did he blow a tire? What's going on? And it was tough to see, but I've seen it, happen enough when we test these. Basically, he took a really big impact to the rim, and it did exactly what it's supposed to do. It took the damage. He didn't lose tire pressure because that's a pretty serious problem, out in the World Cup. And he finished the run. So it's pretty fun if you go back and look at the footage. You can actually see the wheel like doing its little jump in that one spot, and he successfully completed. And we're like, that's exactly what an alloy wheel is supposed to be able to do. So that was actually pretty nice to see in real world. All
right, give me some of your top 3 tips for people once they already own wheels, keeping their wheels running smooth.
All right. Most important thing is that having your spoke tension be even is more important than the wheel being true. Almost 100% of the time. If you've got a problem with your wheel, focus on balancing the tension first, deal with the trueness later. My second thing is to take your wheel out of your bike, take the tire off at least every 6 months and actually determine if your bearings are smooth and if your spokes are tight or not. It's not something you can check really while it's on the bike, and it's not something you can check while the tire is mounted on it, because the tire will lower your spoke tension. So once you take the tire off, it'll pop back up and you can kind of see where it's actually at. The third tip that's most important is to check your tire pressure before every ride. At a bike park, sometimes a ride means a run, you know, like maybe check it halfway through the day. Your tire loses air pressure over time, so measuring it at one time doesn't mean it's going to be the same at another time. And if you don't have enough tire pressure, eventually the trail will contact your rim, and that energy needs to go somewhere. On our V2 alloy rim, we're trying to prevent dents and, you know, trying to make sure that you still hold tire pressure and everything. But if you don't have enough tire pressure, then eventually the trail's going to win that fight. Use a digital tire pressure gauge. Don't trust your floor pump gauge. Don't trust your mini pump gauge. Don't trust your fingers and your thumb. None of those are actually accurate. A tire pressure gauge is accurate. So,
Perfect.
there you go.